Hi, I'm Trooper Smacka.
Hi, I'm Trooper Wellman.
Please stay tuned for a behind-the-scenes look at being a state trooper.
And together, we can make a difference.
Here we are live at the 360 Vegas studios. We have Trooper Wellman and Trooper Smacka here for another edition of Trooper Talk. We had a really somber but truthful Trooper Talk the last time. We talked about the October 1 and stuff like that. We saw you, even though you weren't here. We had a great picture, right?
Yes.
And but we're glad to have you back, and we're glad that you're here. So this week, you know, I mean, there was tremendous things happening, and some of them not great. No. And so one of the things that's really special that we really are able to get across is what both of you are like, not as troopers. And so, you know, you shared, stuff with your family and how you drive and things like this. And one of the things that we've learned with you is the sentimentality of who you are. And so seeing that is very special. And so the first picture I want to bring up, I noticed what happened the other day where an officer-involved shooting from Nevada Highway Patrol. And so when I watched that video, I knew, because I know you, how shooken up you were. And so let's bring up this picture, and then I'm going to turn the floor over to you, and you describe to me what you were feeling, because this guy right here was the emotional the emotional Trooper Smacka. Yeah. And it's what we want people to realize, so we're never in this situation.
Yes, it's a tough scene to be on, because everybody involved in an incident of this magnitude, their lives are forever changed.
Yeah.
The troopers involved in this officer-involved shooting, they're never going to be the same again. This is something that I can't think of a better term other than it is life-changing for all involved. It's what we do out there. It's very real. I mean, lives are on the line. This is life and death.
I mean, again, I'm not asking what happened. I know it's still under investigation, so that's not what the purpose of this is, right? The purpose is to bring out the realness of what we are. I can only imagine. You know what I mean? Like 1 second, like we talk about, the wrong way drivers and all this, but 1 second you're here, and then the next second you're pulling out a firearm, and
And not only we weren't even involved until later, right? Later in the scene. But the second we got the call saying that there was an officer-involved shooting, we happened to be together because we were running a 5K for the Vegas Strong Run, and both of our hearts just stopped. And the first thing was like, are the officers okay? Because it hits home, as well as just recently we just lost Micah, so it was just like, oh my gosh, are they okay? And instant panic, right? Instant sick feeling to your stomach. And then once you find out they're okay, then it's like, okay. You honestly, the details, you care about it, but you don't. You just want to make sure they were okay. And unfortunately, a life was lost, but, we can only, people make those decisions, not us, right?
Yeah, and when I watched the interview on the other news stations, right, who were there, right, I mean, so many thoughts, like, a rolling domestic violence, who's the car driving down the road? That's why, I mean, like, so many things. So I just want to say on behalf of everyone and all of the Trooper Talk family, we're thankful that everyone is safe.
Yes, Dale.
Thank you.
And I know by the time that this presentation will air, we'll have a lot more information out to the community, as we will be having a briefing on Thursday as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one of the things that's challenging for us and somewhat frustrating as public information officers, when Trooper Smacka is giving this interview, he's trying to choose his words correctly. He can't say too much to jeopardize the investigation. but we know the public wants answers, and we know they want to know, and we're always trying to be as transparent as we can. But at that time, we can only say so much because they have to conduct the investigation. And so when we get in situations like this, we always just ask for patience. Please, we will be as transparent as we can. We will show you the body cam footage. We will show you everything, as Trooper Smacka said on our press release on Thursday. But at this time, I know that he was under a lot of stress because that was a lot of weight carrying on him, because he had to. It was just a lot of stress.
Yeah, no, and that's what when
He did great.
After he gave his presentation, some of the media then asked questions.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly, like, you could see, like, obviously you know what happened, but you can only be like, it's an investigation, and so this is where we need to be. And
Yeah,
so,
the amount of responsibility that was put on him just
Yeah.
in those short seconds that you see were tremendous, and he did great. He did
Yeah.
phenomenal.
So hats off to you, and thank you for what you do, and for you as well, because we have one coming up that we're going to thank you for now.
Oh,
All right, you ready? That's in a moment.
yes.
Let's talk about this.
Yes.
So, Trooper Micah May gave his life to protect everyone. Unfortunately, and this particular person will remain nameless, right? All we want to know is that a trooper lost his life, and that we're going to do everything we can to make sure that his name will never be in vain.
Yes.
Right? Talk to us about what we do and how you prepare for that forever, right?
Well, what's important to know about this one, too, is that Sergeant Ben Jenkins was out in the early morning hours helping this man. He found a motorist who he felt was in distress. It's a rural area where there's not many people around. And so he's on his way to do his another job. He sees a motorist in distress. He stops, and he wants to help this person and do everything he can for them. And then it costs him his life in return in a very just evil, selfish act.
Horrible.
Literally just being a peacekeeper, trying to help the public.
Help the public. And so, luckily, we have the Sergeant Ben Jenkins patches, right? And so we can always support, and we appreciate, and we, wear them to always make sure that his name is always in the forefront. And so, for this, it's not about this person. It's more about to make sure that Sergeant Ben Jenkins always knows that we're smiling at him, even though he's not on Trooper Talk. Maybe he's sitting right here in the chair, just waving, saying, thanks for mentioning my name.
We'll actually be honoring him next week at the Police Memorial in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, tell us.
So, yeah, we'll be, Trooper Smack and myself, as well as the Nevada High Patrol Honor Guard, will be heading up to Washington, D.C. to honor Sergeant Ben Jenkins, and we'll be placing his name on the wall.
And that's a huge honor.
It is, and it'll never take away the pain for the family, but at least it gives them some sort of comfort to an extent.
And so
But
we
will never
appreciate
forget.
his service, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do we have here? Trooper Micah May,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And so,
No,
we know that all the troopers put their lives on the line, and that we just want to say thank you.
Yeah, and I have to say that Trooper Woman was the driving force behind this, giving this this little girl a very important, very monumental first birthday. Yet her father's not there for that, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, and it said on the trooper car, right? Happy first birthday.
Happy birthday, Melody.
Happy birthday, Melody.
Yep. I just can't thank everybody who helped us with it. It was somewhat of a last minute thing because we didn't know what we were doing yet. If we were just gonna have a small birthday party, you got to kind of talk to the family and respect their wishes and see what they want. It's a hard time for them, and we all want to be there and we want to celebrate, but we also want to comfort them. So at the last minute, I actually called the Henderson Police Department, and I just have to give them a giant thank you. I asked if they could just send maybe 1 or 2 units out, and they sent, I think, 18. All of their canine, all of their swing units, they held their calls for service just so they could be a part of this for us, because they wanted Melody and the May family to know that his life mattered. And it was breathtaking. it was amazing to be a part of, and it just truly makes you honored to wear the badge and be a part of the Blue family. So it was awesome.
Yeah, it's important that this family knows that they'll never be alone.
Yeah.
That they do have a support system.
And you both have worked with Trooper May.
Yeah, for
I mean, like,
years.
you know, it's you know, so it's a very personalized thing as well.
It is, and I have a daughter, a 3-year-old daughter. So when I see her first birthday, Melody's birthday, it just like it hits home because, you know, Micah's not there for the smash cake or to take the photos with his daughter, and it's like, you know, we're there for him. You know, we're there now filling his spot, but it just breaks your heart, you know.
Breaks your heart, but
Yeah.
it's one of the wonderful things that people look up to both of you for, and
Yeah.
maybe they don't say it,
Yeah.
but we're here to tell you. People look up to you, and people in the community, and so to know that, and again, the joining forces, right? The Henderson Police Department works with Nevada Highway Patrol.
Yeah.
You know, all the it's just it's one of the wonderful things.
Yeah, it just shows you, it doesn't matter what agency you work for, like we're all connected and we all support each other, and it's a beautiful thing. It's amazing.
So this one here, now we got a chance to praise you, Trooper Smacko, and now Trooper
Breaking me
Wellman, you were on the news for this whole situation.
Yes. Actually, when I took this photo, I thought of you because of the shoe, and I was like, I thought of you as I posted it.
It's the most horrible thing ever, because this is what I look at,
Yeah.
and this is what I noticed.
Yes.
Because in Trooper Talk, we've had talks about what we see from these horrific accidents.
Yeah. This one, a young man lost his life yesterday for reasons still unknown, but ultimately, it should never have happened. It should never have happened. It's daytime. The truck's clearly far enough in the shoulder. Witnesses stated he was not in a travel lane, and for unknown reasons, a van failed to maintain its travel lane, traveled over in the shoulder and struck him. Hopefully we have more answers soon once we get toxicology reports back, as well as more with the witness statements, and they did all the roadway workups and things like that. But, you know, that family's going to have a lot of questions, and I just hope we can provide them with some answers. But ultimately, there's no reason that life should have been lost. It's daytime. You can clearly see, no.
And this is what I noticed when I was, and again, I know it's into the investigation, and so we're not asking specifics, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I was curious about, because one of the things that we always talk about is, and you know, the other day, you know, there was a car that was changing the tire, right? You know, and the guy's like underneath the car, right?
Yes.
And, you know, changing the tire, and
Yeah.
so.
And I'll tell you that this truck had its hazard lights activated, and that was one of the biggest things when I got there. I was like, the hazard lights are activated. So was this a failed to move over? Was it failed to decrease its speed? Was this a distracted driving issue? Was this an impairment? I mean, all of those thoughts are going through all of our minds of why did this happen? Why? And so hopefully we will get some of those answers soon, so that way the family can have some sort of, I don't even want to say peace, but peace, you know, like just answers to their questions.
And so here's my question now. So obviously you're very busy, you know, with impairment and people doing the wrong things and all this type of stuff. So if we're on the highway and something happens and we have to change the tire, or you know what I mean, whatever, you know, are we permitted to call Star NHP and just say, you know, listen, you know, we're at so-and-so, you know, like, is that, or do we just get out of the car? I mean,
Yes, we actually would request that you do that, because if we get out behind you, we're another layer of protection, and we may even have the tools and equipment necessary to expedite you getting back on the roadway.
Yep. And if you're in a bad spot, we also have the availability to shut down a travel lane to give you that extra space. If you, like, let's say this truck, for example, if its front left tire was to blow out, that's a dangerous spot to change your tire. We have the capability to actually block the travel lane. So if we needed to, we can push your vehicle off the roadway. We can contact Department of Transportation, Freeway Service Patrol. they push vehicles. They have the equipment to jump your battery quickly. They have the electronic drills to change your tire
They
really
can tow
fast.
you off of the roadway.
I
or
mean, it's
somewhere
endless.
safer.
We have these resources for these reasons to get you off the highway safely so that way you don't get put in these situations. So please always call Star NHP 311 if you don't feel safe, and we're more than happy to come out there and help you.
Okay, and that's that's the important thing that I didn't know, because the other day when I was driving home, like I said, there was this guy, and they're underneath the car, and I'm thinking, it was on a curve, and so I didn't know. Do you dial, so as a passing motorist, do you dial Star NHP and say, listen, I just want to tell you.
Yeah, 100%.
I just passed this guy. I mean, this guy is on the corner. I mean, somebody's going to come around and clip this guy.
Yeah, no one will ever fault you for that.
Yeah.
Safety first.
Safety first.
And we
on
don't know
top
they're
of it,
there
too.
unless you call. Sorry.
Oh,
If he's on a shoulder, I mean, if it's uneven ground, and he's got his car up on a jack, and he's underneath his car, that's pretty dangerous too, unless you're on a completely solid paved level surface. I mean, that jack collapses, that can be deadly.
well, and it was, for me, it was, the guy was on the left-hand side, and so you were in the fast lane, and you were coming around like this, and it was just, it
very
was just
dangerous
very,
spot to
very,
be.
very, very dangerous spot, and you just felt bad for the person that was in the car, because you're like, they must have been really like, that's the end of the line.
Yeah.
And so, all right, so we
Yeah.
can call Star NHP, and
And you see, we've talked about our traffic brakes. We can always push that vehicle off the roadway, or sometimes you still have tread on your tire. You can slowly put your car off the freeway, and we'll do a traffic brake so that way you can safely move your vehicle. There's so many options. Just call us, and we'll evaluate once we get there.
and that's a great lesson for this week, that if there's a problem, don't hesitate to make a phone call,
Yes.
because we don't want this to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It reminded me of the tow truck driver that was killed a few months back.
Yes.
Ryan, I can't remember his last name, but it was Ryan. And, it was part of that move over, and it was like a flashback when I saw this one. It just reminded me of Ryan.
Move over law. It doesn't matter what it is. Slow down, move over.
Yeah.
All right. Fatal crash, Red Rock Loop. Right?
Yes.
All right. So here we have motorcycles and things happening, and
Yeah, this was a case where it's a three-wheeled slingshot is what they're called, three-wheeled motor.
and so that's the one that has the two wheels in the front, one in the
rear,
back,
yes.
right? That some people have the little tiny roof over, most people don't, right? Like that, right?
Yes.
Like the little dune buggy type of thing, right?
And so this is, we were assisting with traffic control. This is actually the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department's investigation, being the area in Red Rock where it occurred is their jurisdiction.
Okay.
But we were there to assist them on road closures and things.
And it just goes into take into account. Let's talk in a generalized setting, then, right? When people rent or own these type of fun things, there's an inherent responsibility whether you're traveling on a road like this or on a highway,
Yes.
right? And so we have to take the responsibility of the vehicle that we're traveling in, knowing that we have to be safe, right?
100%.
Yes. I couldn't say it better, Neil. Safety's always got to be a factor, or you're going to have a tragedy.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd rather have two wheels than three. You know what I'm saying? But very scary. How about a video? Vehicle fire causes backup on highway. So we now have access to the fast cams,
Oh,
Yes.
right? And so Johnny is very sophisticated. Johnny's in charge of the studio, just so everybody knows. And so I told him to get some video, right? So, people are like, so talk to us about, in this situation, if there is something that happens, this could be hours people are waiting there, right? Have water in your car, all these type of things in case something should happen, right?
yep.
For sure.
Make sure you're filled up. Make sure if you can, your cell phone's charged in case something did happen. Because if you get stranded out there, now you're another element to this whole situation. Now we got to get you off the highway or move you out of a travel lane, and we don't want to see you get hurt or anything like that. So please just always be prepared.
Always be prepared. How about this one?
Big backup.
That's a big backup, right?
Yeah.
So just be prepared.
Yes, and unfortunately, we're going to conduct a thorough investigation and try to get everything opened up as quickly as possible. But there's also, whenever you have a collision and you have debris on the roadway, sometimes the roadway is damaged in a violent collision. So we have to make sure that everything is completely safe before we open up the travel lanes. But unfortunately, this is always a possibility to have a bit of a backup, especially depending on where the crash is. But in this area of the I-15, where you're near the World Market Center, when you're in Sahara, Charleston area, you're always going to have major congestion because that is a very busy section of our city. I mean, you're right there at the Spaghetti Bowl.
Yeah, you can see that they blocked off the lanes and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's important for the public to know also that when you have a major backup from an incident, just know that that is our primary focus. Securing the scene and helping the individuals involved, of course, but then after that, it is traffic control. We are doing everything we can to find alternate routes. How do we get cones set up? How can we go direct traffic and just open the light and just make people go through? We don't want this to happen. We don't want people to be stuck stationary on the highway like this, because one of the biggest things we see is people start going wrong way. They start going off the off ramps wrong way, and that's just causing more problem. I promise you that this is one of our main concerns when we're dealing with a major incident, and we are trying to get the traffic out. We're trying to flow it out as fast as we can because we don't want this to happen.
Because you don't want to have residual crashes that occur
Yes.
either. That happens with Trooper Wellman and myself all the time when we're working, and you have inclement weather. When we've got some weather in the valley this week.
Yeah.
And when you start having crashes occur, well, I know this morning I was monitoring where we had a 5-car pile up. And so that's going to create a big closure. And then you have people who are wanting to look at what's going on the investigation, the looky-loos, and then people slamming on their brakes, and then you're going to get these residual crashes. And now what was one crash, you have 2, 3, 4 or more crashes going down the line, and it's going to keep traffic tied up for a long time.
Yeah.
And I do notice that you're very good with putting out on the Twitter.
Yes, that is how we communicate with our traffic control.
If anybody wants to know, they can at least go to the NHP Twitter page, and you're very quick to this is the problem, and So.
That's actually our voice. That is how we communicate with the news outlets to let them know. Then they can broadcast over the radio stations, or if people are listening to podcasts, things like that. That is our voice with the traffic control. So if you ever get stuck in congestion, yes, obviously go to a safe location and don't be driving. But look at your phone, look at our Twitter feed, and we update it constantly.
Right. Okay. How about this one? Now, one day we're going to get somebody to come in and go very deep into this topic
Yes.
with us. Okay? But here's the thing. Human trafficking. Go.
Yes. Human trafficking is a big problem. In fact, Nevada is ninth in the entire country for reported cases of human trafficking. And it's, Las Vegas is a destination city where people come to have a good time. And unfortunately, there's always a dark side to everything. And that's one thing where the Nevada Patrol has decided to team up with our commercial truck drivers and offer education to them through another organization called Truckers Against Trafficking. And we can give them some of the tools and just things to look for, because there's only so many state troopers in the state of Nevada. We can't be everywhere. But being that we're a state that borders the Pacific coast and the rest of everything east of us, which is 90% of the country, we have a lot of commercial vehicles coming through our state. And just about every highway, any given time of day or night, you're going to have commercial truckers on those roadways, out at those truck stops, out at convenience stores, restaurants, on the state lines, rest areas. And they can be a huge asset to us as if they have an idea what to look for and trying to curb this horrible, evil act.
It's horrible.
And like he was just saying, the truck stops,
Yeah.
the restaurants, the gas stations, those are very common areas where we're seeing a high volume of this activity, unfortunately. And because of that, that's why we're really pushing the truckers or we want to team up with the truckers because they're seeing it way more than we are. And they can actually go to the Nevada Highway Patrol website, and if they click on, I believe it was divisions and then commercial, in there's actually a section where they can take for free Truckers Against Trafficking course as these commercial drivers, and it'll get a printed certificate, and they can present that to their employer, and it goes in their file as part of a course that they've taken. And it's all free, and it's just great knowledge. And we even put on the trucks, we have billboards with the phone number, everything. So if anybody sees trafficking, they can call. It's a mobile billboard. So it's great that we've partnered with them, and our goal is to make a difference and to help these victims.
And most of the time, and I don't know, but these people are much younger, so they're not able to make the best decisions for themselves. They're relying on someone else to help with their decisions, right? It's, the human trafficking generally isn't somebody in their 30s or 40s, right?
It's actually something that's going to affect every person. It doesn't discriminate based on your gender, your ethnicity, your age, your economic status. Anybody can become a victim of this. And some of the things that people learn through the training is what to look for. And in certain things, it's almost kind of the same indicators you would expect from somebody who's been kidnapped. You're going to find somebody who's not giving you direct eye contact, where another person is answering questions on their behalf and they're not speaking. And you may even see physical signs of abuse. And so as a law enforcement officer, those are things we're always looking for. But it's important for other people to notice those things too, so they can reach out to us if they suspect it. But we also ask that no one take it upon themselves and interject themselves into a situation, because it could be very dangerous.
Yes. Right, of course.
I mean, the perpetrators of this crime are criminals.
Right.
And often very violent criminals. So we're not asking anybody to put themselves in jeopardy. But reach out to law enforcement and let us investigate.
Unbelievable. This is one of the things we really need to stop.
Yeah.
Okay, how about this?
The Vegas Strong Run.
So it's important that everybody knows all the good stuff you do for the community and how much the community supports you. Thanks. And so just another way, again, that we just want to say thank you.
Yes, and for being a young girl, she really is surprising how much she reaches outside of herself. And much like yourself, is out there trying to raise money for good causes and bring recognition to good causes. And so what she is doing is she will run a mile for every police canine that loses its life in the line of duty. So she is really out there. I mean, this is just a young girl. I think she's 9 years old.
9 years old, Teresa Ann.
And she's out there doing something to try to make the world a better place and bring recognition to important things. And so we were very happy to be out there to support her in that.
Yeah, so Teresa actually asked us to run with her because we lost one of our canines, not in the line of duty, but just from medical complications this year. And so as part of that, our canine's dog's name was Jill. And so she wanted to run in honor of Jill, as well as all the other canines for 2021. And so when she asked us, we were honored to. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not a runner, but I got out there. And that little girl smoked me, but that's okay. But she pushed me to keep going. And she carried a flag the whole time. She did not stop one time. I was beyond amazed. Yeah. And then when we were hooking it to the finish line, she just booked it. I was like, no, because I couldn't keep up. But she was a beast. She's amazing. And like Trooper Smacka said, she's out there just spreading the word for a good cause. And she definitely deserves some recognition. She's awesome.
And it's nice to see, again, the smile on both of your faces, right? Because, we deal with so much tragedy and so many things that, you need as many things as you can to smile about.
Yes.
And so this is a great cause and a great thing. And so we wanted to highlight this. How about this? Nevada Highway Patrol, one of the few departments that allows people to show their tattoos.
Yeah. because we're humanizing the badge. We're just like you. We are humans, and we have tattoos. We have hobbies that people like to do. Like, we ride motorcycles. We play sports. I mean, this is just one layer of who we are. And so I thought it was important that we show it. You know, some of the comments, people were like, oh, it looks unprofessional, this, that. But this is a part of who this trooper is. This is Trooper Brosnahan. She always has a smile on her face. Every person she comes in contact with, she is a bright light. And everybody loves Trooper Brosnahan. And she's got almost her whole body is tatted. And it's just she was willing to be vulnerable and let us put this picture of her out there. And we're appreciative of it because it's humanizing the badge. And she was vulnerable to let people see who she is. And tattoos usually tell a story, right? Yeah. So it's a great conversation starter. So when she does traffic stops, that's one of the first things she talks about is when she sees people with their tattoos or they see hers, they start building rapport, they start talking, and they're just two people talking. It's no longer, I'm an officer, you're a person I just stopped because maybe you're speeding or something. It's a beautiful thing, and I see beauty when I look at this.
Yeah. It's very personal. It's part of her identity.
Yeah. Makes her unique.
The thing is that it again comes back to the human side to show that, although you wear the badge and you do all these type of things, you're a human and you do fun things and you do what it is that makes you happy. So I thought it was great too, and I noticed the big smile, like, you know what I mean? She's just totally proud of who she is.
She's been doing this job, I think, almost 15 years, so she's considered a senior trooper. And again, she always has a smile on her face. Like, she loves what she does. She loves helping the community, and it's beautiful. So we want more people like that, and that's why we made it. If you want to join Nevada High Patrol or Department of Public Safety, the website's right there, nevadastatepolice.com.
Yeah, go there and do it. So that was our show for today. I hope that next week we don't have as many horrible things that happen and whatever. Yes. We're coming into October. The only other thing I'll say today is today rained.
Yep.
And what's very interesting is when I stopped the truck, the front tires slid. I was maybe going 25, 30 miles an hour on the in the development there, but I hit the brakes and the truck slid.
Yes. That's one thing about Las Vegas is we don't get a lot of rain, and when we do get rain, there's usually a long period of time that has passed since the last rain, and in that time, our roadways collect a lot of vehicular fluid, whether that's oil or brake fluid or whatever it is that may come out of a vehicle, and a lot of those fluids are oil-based, and when you mix oil and water, it doesn't usually work out well, and it becomes very slick.
Very scary. Slow down, take it easy, right? Don't have 5 accidents when for the looky-loos.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, already this morning we had a fatal crash. We had a truck go off the roadway and overturn, and someone lost their life just this morning.
He's right.
And they're not coming home for dinner.
No.
And so we need to do everything we can to make sure that we save the lives and do all that.
Yes.
We appreciate you coming in for the Trooper Talk. Always wonderful.
Thanks for having us,
Neil. And we'll see you next week with another edition of Trooper Talk.
All right.
All right, everybody be safe.